Hello, beloveds. Hello, heart spacers. I hope everyone is doing amazing. I hope that, today's going good for you. If you're not, then get yourself grounded. I hope you're getting somewhere where you can release your energy and bring yourself back to center. So, I'm going to just jump right in and I'm going to talk about fear. Okay. I'm going to talk about two things as far as with fear. And that first is the fear of our own reality, and then the fear that's placed upon us from others. And when I talk about the fear that's placed upon from others, I'm speaking about when other people tell you what you shouldn't do, what you should do, putting their beliefs, their fears, their own worries and projections onto you. We have to release that. A lot of times we don't move forward and we don't do things we really want to do or accomplish things we really want to accomplish because we're listening to what someone else told us. We are using our parents, our family, our peers as examples because let me just say, my path is my path. What's for me is for me. Whatever's meant for me can't miss me, and so I can't talk about somebody else's path. I can't speak on what someone else's journey is because I don't know what's for them. I am not the God of their life. I don't know what's for them, and they can't do the same for me. People can offer opinion, people can speak their truth or speak whatever they feel, but I don't have to receive it. I have a choice to receive it or to reject it. But sometimes you have people who are so stuck in their own programming, in their own belief system, in their own black belief that they can't give you that love. They can't support your dreams or support your hopes and support your shifts that you're trying to make in your life. So you gotta be mindful who you telling your good news to, who you telling your wishes to, your secrets to, your dreams to, because they may not be able to pour into you and be able to receive that without putting their own baggage on top of it. And as I stated before, we're all energy. So if I'm receiving that, that means I'm really receiving your fears. I'm really receiving your baggage. I'm really receiving that has nothing to do with me. A few years ago, when I first started on my spiritual path, I had a spiritual awakening. And I had this spiritual awakening and I was meditating a lot and I got really, really centered and I started seeing my vision, like seeing my dreams, like things I would have never thought or things I actually, the inner child, the little girl, the things I always wanted for me as a child, I saw it there in my meditation. And I was seeing all these different things of what I desired and I was like, oh my God, like this is possible for me. I can really do this. Okay, okay. And I just was like so focused on like I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm going to take this money that I have and I'm just gonna go full force into pursuing my dreams. And one thing I learned was that you're not supposed to speak about it to anyone. And so I put in my 2 weeks notice at my job. I was getting so ready to do that. Like, oh gosh, I'm leaving this job. I'm going to pursue my dream. And a week before I was going to be at my last week, my last day, I told my mother what I was doing. And my mother was actually living with me at the time. And I felt instinctively some type of responsibility for her. And she was staying with me. And I told her. And immediately when I told her, even though she may have not intentionally done this, but immediately it was fear being spoken into my life. It was fear like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? You can't do this. You're gonna fail. You're going to, not that you're gonna fail with your dream, but you're gonna be broke. You're gonna be on the street. Like, this is impulsive. This is ridiculous. This is yada yada yada. And I remember feeling so overwhelmed and I cried and I started having anxiety and I started having panic attacks about leaving and I couldn't get centered. And I released everything that I had been working on, my meditation, my practices of being still and being patient and being centered and trusting the voice within. I just released all that and I just took on all that fear. And so what did I end up doing? I ended up rescinding my 2 week notice and staying at the job and deciding, okay, I can do both. I can work this job and live this life and also, go after my dreams. And I say this to say that I don't have any regrets, but I'm using it as an example that what's been told to you, what's been given to you, what's in your heart and your spirit, that's for you. And so you gotta be mindful that if you tell someone else, or you speak your truth, or you are honest, or you're sharing what you desire for yourself, if somebody's not in that place, they don't have that vision, they haven't been given that vision, they're not gonna be able to see it the way that you've seen it, the way it's been told to you, this way it's been shown to you. And even if they project their fears onto you, you have a choice if you want to receive it or not. If I look back at that moment, I could have said, no, I don't receive this. I don't receive this. I welcome love in this space. I don't receive that. And I would have kept it moving. But the little girl in me was like, oh my God, maybe I will feel. Oh my God. What am I going to do? Oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I quit. I mean, I went back on what I wanted to do. I don't have any regrets because everything is aligning me to where I need to be. But when I look back at that moment, I see why you got to stand in your truth. Because if you bow to what someone else thinks about you or what they're putting into you, you're just repeating a cycle. And really, it leaves you stuck. It leaves you in a state of stagnancy. It leaves you in a state of that fear. Oh, I won't ever be able to do that, so I'm not going to do it. Oh, I won't ever be able. Okay, so you won't. Their fear becomes your fear if you allow yourself to believe it and receive it. So reject that. Reject it. The other day, I'll use another example. I'm going on a trip, a solo trip next week by myself, and I was a little nervous because I'm going to be on this plane for a long time, and I have like a little bit of like nervousness about it. And I was speaking to my father about it, and he was just he in his own well mind and being just who he is, he was putting his fears upon me. And I started having anxiety. And I remember I stayed up late and I knew it was anxiety. I knew I was having anxiety. So then I started thinking of all the worst case scenarios, why I shouldn't go. And I released that. I said, this isn't my energy. This is him. This has nothing to do with me. This is him. And I said, I just released it. Actually, I transmuted the energy and I said, I welcome love into this space. And I decided to start planning what I'm going to be doing and getting more back in the vibration of love and being excited for the trip. I transmuted that energy into something good. And then the next day I spoke with him again and he was doing the same thing again. And because I was aware of what was going on, I just told him, if we're going to continue to have this conversation, I'm going to have to get off the phone. And I love you, but I'll talk to you later. I had to set that boundary because I can't receive it. I don't receive it. I don't. And I say this to you guys, you don't have to receive what someone else puts upon you. You get a choice. You get the choice of what you want to receive and what you don't want to receive. You can, if they project whatever they got going on, you can transmute that into something good. Their negativity, go do something that makes you feel good. Go transmute that into something that's prosperous, that energy. That's the first thing I want to talk about was other people's fears. But let's talk about your own fear. Because we all have fear. And fear is what they always say, false evidence appearing real, which it is. But I also feel like fear stems from things that we have been traumatized by, or we have had rejection by, or we have failed at before, or just what someone else has told us, or someone else's experience. And so we equate that as our own. And fear is just the universe or God's way of showing you of the next hurdle that you have, of the next level that you can master. You're going to always be like pushed. It's when we give into the fear or we let the fear control us, because really the fear is the mind, it's the ego telling us that you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. If you do that, you're going to fail. If you do that, you're going to bust your butt. If you do that, this is going to happen. And the fear is trying to protect you, right? Because you've probably been hurt before. You probably have experienced disappointments before. So the fear is like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. The ego's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because we got you. Don't do that. But the fear is not you. That's the ego. That's the mind. When you hear those negative thoughts, you got to counteract that immediately. Because anytime what we're thinking, we're putting out, that becomes our reality. So if I hear a negative thought, I observe my thought, because I'm so into meditation. That's why meditation is powerful, because it allows you to observe your thoughts, observe what's going on up in here, and realize, oh, I'm separate from this. So I like to observe it. So instead of reacting, when fear comes up, I like to question myself now. If I have a negative thought, oh, you're nothing, or you're gonna be broke, or if you do that, you're gonna be on the street. And I like to ask myself, is this actual real? Is this actually real? Is this thought actually factual? And then I like to challenge that. How is it factual? What would happen if I go ahead and purchase that sandwich? Am I gonna be on the street? Is that actually factual? Is it actually factual that I'm going to fail if I decide to upload a video today? Is it actually factual that I'm going to fail if I decide to pursue something that makes me happy today? Like, I like to call it out and question it, because what happens when you question the thought, when you question that fear, you start getting to the root of what is actually fact. Is this actually a real scenario? Because it's not real. Because that's what anxiety leads to. When you have anxiety, you're thinking of scenarios that haven't even happened. You're just thinking of stuff. You think all in future based. You're not present. You're all in the future. So with fear, when you start giving into the fear, that's how you build the anxiety. That's how you build the stagnancy. But you got to question that. Is this real? Is this actually factual? And sometimes you also got to call them out. Sometimes I'll hear the fear talking. I'll hear the negativity talking. And I say, I hear you. I hear you. But I'm not giving into this. Thank you. I acknowledge you. Like, I acknowledge it. I speak out. I used to curse it out. I'm like, hey, not today. But I'm not doing that today. But you can. Sometimes you got to call it out. Speak it for what it is, because you have more power over the fear. You have more power over your fear. The thing is, once you do the thing that the fear is telling you not to do, that quiets down. Then something else happens. Something else comes up. It's always going to be there. It's on us to separate us reacting out of the fear and giving into the fear, and knowing that we are more powerful than the fear. So that means daily repetition, affirmation, speaking power. When you have a negative thought, you counteract that 3-4 times with something positive. Because the mind, the subconscious mind, the mind is programmed what we give our energy to, what we speak about, what we think about. And so if you are speaking positive things, you are counteracting that negativity. That negativity has to shut down. That voice has to shut down. If you are filling yourself with good things, it means meditation, getting still, getting with spirit. Because a lot of us don't know that we're reacting out of fear. A lot of us don't know we're reacting out of our anxiety. We're reacting out of discomfort. We don't realize that. We don't even know that the ego is not us. We don't even realize that the mind is not us. It's like, oh, my mind is telling me to do all these different things. Yeah, that's your mind telling you that, but you don't have to do it. You have more power over the mind. You tell the mind what to do. You tell the mind, shut up. You tell the mind, not today. You tell the mind, I am powerful. You tell the mind, I can do all things. You tell the mind, I am amazing. Because the mind will have you thinking that you are nothing, that you are absolutely nothing, that you can't accomplish anything. My mind will tell me all different scenarios about myself. Everything imagined underneath the sun, from my body to what I do, my creativity, how my love life, my friends, it will tell me everything. But it's on me. And the reason it's there is because of all of what I've been through, the experiences I've had. And I know it's trying to protect me, and so I give it grace. But I also know I have to reprogram the way I think and the way I feel. And that the best action you can take towards fear is actually doing something, doing the thing that it's trying to stop you from. Doing the thing that's going to shut it up. Do it anyway. Do it scared. Do it scared. Look, perfectionism and procrastination is fear. When you have to wait till you do something perfect, like till it's perfect, that's fear. That's an excuse. That's an excuse to delay. When you have to procrastinate, or I'll do this the next day, or I'll do this next week. You really have a fear of actually doing the work, or you being successful of what will happen if you do it, or if you actually pursue this, what's going to move forward. That's fear. That's not, I don't even like saying procrastination more. It's fear. Perfection is a fear. None of what we do is going to be absolutely perfect. But when we delay, or when we decide we're going to wait, or we decide, I'll make sure this is going to be so great and so magical. Look, just put it out there. Somebody else might have your idea or your thought or something that you want for yourself. Somebody else decided to put that out there while you're still trying to be a perfectionist or figure out how to do it, or I can't do it yet. I got to make sure it's okay. And they beat you. Now they are making millions and making money. Put it out. Do it scared. Do it scared. You're going to keep having fear come up. But every time you tackle it, every time you conquer that fear, or you look fear dead in the face and you say, I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to do this scared. You've leveled up. You told your angels, you told God, you told spirit, you told divine, you're telling your spirit guides that you are ready. You are willing when you face your fears. Now, when there comes a time that you can't get out of your anxiety, you can't get out of the fear, then yes, you probably do need to talk to a coach. You probably need a therapist. You probably need to get some help, because your anxiety, that fear, will limit you. It will stop you in everything. And I speak as someone who has anxiety, someone who has stopped and not really went forth on my business plans or limited myself because of the fear, because of that voice, because of the thoughts. But I'm coming to the awareness of realizing, what does peace feel like? Because I know when I'm not at peace. When I'm not at peace, I am all over the place. When I know I'm not at peace, I know I'm not in the present moment. So I got to bring myself back to center always. I absorb the feelings. I have to honor what I feel. If it's discomfort, okay, let's honor that. If I got some fear, why do I have this fear? Is this fear actually real? Is this actually really real right now? Or is this serving me? Like, is this really going to happen if I do this? Am I really about to die? Like, because this is the way my mind works. My mind would tell me all different types of scenarios. And then when I notice, when I do the thing, when I step out, when I choose to shut up the mind and do the thing that I'm afraid to do, it stops talking about that. It starts talking about something else. So it's going to continue to do what it does. But it's on us to be aware. So how can I silence the mind? How can I silence that fear and still be me, and still be prosperous, and still be glorious? You are not your fears. You are not your mind. You are not procrastination. You are not perfectionism. You are you, which is absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. Call it out when you hear that negative voice. Speak those affirmations when you hear negativity. Always, always call back in your power. Start noticing your habits. When do I feel discomfort? When am I reacting? When am I reacting out of fear? How does that feel? Start getting aware of when you don't feel good within yourself, when you're limiting yourself, when you're making excuses for yourself and your behaviors because you're moving out of fear. And also protect your energy from people who are projecting their fears onto you. Protect yourself. You are glorious. That's all I have for you guys. My question to you today is, when have I allowed fear to stop me? When have I allowed fear to stop me? In what ways am I allowing fear to stop me? And I always come back to love. How can I bring love in this space? How can I bring love in this space? Because fear is going to be there. The fear is not going nowhere. The fear isn't going anywhere if you don't move, if you don't do something different. You are the most powerful person. You are the most powerful person. You are creating your life. So it's up to you to be the steering how you want this to go. So I send you guys love, and I hope you all have an amazing day.